Hey guys, and welcome to a battle between Sarmatian Secret QSA Mastermind, which is actually Aristodemus in disguise, up against the real Sarmatian, as the forces of Bretonnia face off against the forces of Lizardmen. Should be a fun game, and we have a quad Trebuchet build coming in by the Bretonnians. Now, this is normally considered a rough matchup for Bretonnia, as many matchups are, but I think this is certainly one way that you can actually deal with the Lizardmen. So he almost has two pockets of strength, both guarding double-filled trebuchets. You can see his army is pretty much split into two separate sections. You try and drag the Lizardmen Doom box, which is so often in this, often picked in this matchup. Try and drag them all the way across the map and slowly wear them down through mass attrition. In the front line, he does have a ton of peasant mobs, the good old filthy backbone of all good Bretonnian forces, as well as some spearmen at arms as well dotted in there for a little bit of good measure. He also has peasant bowmen with pox arrows as well. These guys are pretty cheap, cheerful, but they can certainly do some damage. And a ton of cavalry. We have Grail Guardians over on the far side, backed up by questing knights galore down the centre and over on this flank. We have knights errant. So nice build all round. We also have some Grail Reliquae as well, keeping those peasants fighting a little bit stronger. And for his lord, it looks like over in the distance we do have the Fey Enchantress, who is a very competitive pick overall, just trying to do her best Alarielle impression. On top of her unicorn here, looking very fantastic. Coming in with Chalice of Potions, Favour of the Fey. The Dwellers Below is a very expensive spell you don't get to see too often. We have to see if he manages to make that work here, as well as Earthblood. But super fun build, as you can see on the minimap. Incredibly wide, dotted all the way along the battlefield. Now, for the Lizardmen, a lot more compact, as you would expect, but not a complete death blob. Looks like in the rear here he does have Pohopak Cohort, Regiment of Renowned Cold One Spear Riders, who actually do have Vanguard, Anti-Large, and all that nice good stuff. Here's a Feral Carnosaur to help deal with cavalry and all those nasty, pesky heroes the Bretonnians can bring. He has Lord Mazdamundi on top of Zlak here, the Lovecraftian creature, a wet dream there. It comes with the Ruination of Cities, Banishment, Shield of the Old Ones, Apotheosis, and Net of Amantok, which is a brilliant spell to take in this matchup. You can net down those knights and then hop on top of them with the Saurus and the Carnosaur. Saurus-wise, he does have some with spears as well as regular ones just to help chew through that front line a little bit more effectively. On the front line, he has a couple of skink cohorts. Over on the left-hand flank, we have double chameleon skinks as well for a little bit of harass. And leading the charge is a awesome-looking Stegodon. What a fantastic colour scheme on this bad boy with a gigantic bow as well. So let's get this battle underway. It's going to be interesting to see what Aristo does decide to aim at with these field trebuchets. Looks like initial shots are going to be going into the Stegodon, but that's probably because all he has to aim for at the moment. And they can do some okay damage. Not the most accurate of fellows, unfortunately. So the Stegodon only taken one or two rocks to the side so far. It looks like Grail Knights are going to be moving upside the Fey Enchantress as well. Perhaps looking for a sneaky flank or an early engagement on top of these pesky skink cohorts. It's always good to get some nice cycle charging on units like this. It's just complete free value. But Mazdamundi is lurking as well as this Feral Carnosaur looping around the army there and getting prepared to go toe-to-toe with these guys. If they're not careful, they will be netted down and absolutely slaughtered. Grail Guardians, of course, are the anti-infantry version, so they really do not want to be going up against that Feral Carnosaur here. Pohopak cohort still remaining in deep reserve here. It looks like the trebuchets slowly starting to get some damage up on top of the Stegodon, who now can exchange fire that great bow of his if he wants. But there's basically no front line for these Bretonnian forces. There's simply some peasant mobs, one unit of spearmen at arms on either flank, which is really going to struggle to hold back the core of Saurus and even skink cohorts, to be honest. But again, Question Knights could maybe perhaps swing this in his favour. So, Pohopak cohort still waiting in the back for now. These guys are getting a little bit overextended on the right-hand flank, but I guess they don't know they're there yet. And in comes Lord Mazdamundi on top of the mighty Zlak, feasting on these spearmen at arms, sending them absolutely flying. There's not too much they're going to be able to do about this. Lovely counter-charge by the Question Knights on top of the skink cohorts, absolutely decimating those poor fellows down there. Looks like Bretonnia's going to be getting a nice wrap all around the forces of the Lizardmen. In comes our first banishment, but it is a bit of a swing and a miss, unfortunately. Question Knights, they can do some okay damage up against Zlak, but they are anti-infantry, not anti-large. They don't really want to be in this duel for too long. Looks like over on the far side, Grail Guardians have been taking a little bit of light skirmish damage as well, as the man battle lines do start to engage here. Now, these guys got to be very, very careful. The Feral Carnosaur is in fact going to be going in for a charge on top of these Grail Guardians, who need to fall back as fast as possible. Looks like they're trying to get some decent damage done on the skink cohorts. A nice Earthblood as well as the big surround does come down on Lord Mazdamundi. As for the rest of the battle, it looks like we are going to be seeing Question Knights charging into the front lines on top of Saurus, as Skinks push through the peasant mobs, and they're staying quite happy to take all this damage at the moment from this bowfire. The Pohopak cohort has finally started to spring its trap. Double Chameleon Skinks are fleeing from Knights Errant. These guys are one of the best skirmishers in the game. I say this every time I see them. They're doing their 316 no-scopes, poisoning down the Knights down to a meagre speed. They're not going to be able to escape the Pohopak. And in fact, they're actually getting forced off here and broken just by the sheer fire of those pesky Chameleons. Now down here in the front line, Fenenchantress trying her best here. Another Earthblood has gone down. It looks like the Grail Guardians did get caught by Saurus Spears as well as Lord Mazdamundi and the Carnosaur, and they're just getting torn apart here on the front lines. As for the rest of it, the Bretons have done a decent job so far protecting their back line. Effective cycle charging from the Knights Errant are slowly crushing the Saurus Warriors and Skink. A lovely Chalice Potions does come down, but unfortunately a complete swing and a miss here. All Knights Errant are falling back to the main engagement here, trying to get a rear charge on Saurus Warriors, but the Fenenchantress got the absolute snot kicked out of here by this Feral Carnosaur, proving once and for all that princesses on unicorns do get eaten by giant dinosaurs, as the old ones did predict. Knights Errant are going to be falling back here, but they don't have too many safe pockets to go. Chameleon Skink's certainly going to be able to slow them down here. And Lord Mazdamundi is just wrecking shop in there with his Stegodon brother here. And destroying this front line pretty damn effectively. Question Knights going down very, very quickly. Fenenchantress is still alive here, but the Bretonians seem to be running out of speed. The main damage they can actually bring here to the table up against the big dinosaurs is consistent fire by the field trebuchets as well as some of the archers. The rest of their troops seem to be designed more for taking out infantry, but of course the big nasty monsters are going to be walking all over these Question Knights, unfortunately. In the back line, Feral Carnosaur has managed to catch up with some Knights Errant, and with the Pohopak cohort in support, they are decimating these guys. And the Pohopaks have a really cool colour scheme of the red war paint, swinging those barbed tails around and dragging these holy knights down into the dirt before trampling on top of their corpses. All good stuff to see. Chameleon Skinks are going to be shooting in as well, slowing down the Fenenchantress, so she's going to certainly struggle to get out of there. And a Ruination of Cities, in fact, used on some poor peasant mobs, and they do start to flee from the mighty Saurus Spearmen. And Mazdamundi is getting relatively low. It looks like a lot of the trebuchets are starting to target him down, as well as the peasant bowmen with Pox arrows, down to about 4,200 health. However, his health bar is always a little bit misleading, as he has so much in general. Chameleon Skinks still focusing down at the Fenenchantress where possible. Looks like some Knights Errant may have to be sacrificed here into the Feral Carnosaur just to try and save her. It actually looks like they're going for a lance and charge on the Chameleon Skinks, but instead they're getting poisoned and hunted down by the Pohopak cohort, and they're instantly terrified away. And this backline situation is very bad for the Bretonians. They're constantly sending in Grail Knights and so forth, but they're completely outclassed at this moment. Lord Mazdamundi has been forced back, but an Apotheosis is going to heal him up quite nicely as you see the rocks launching themselves after him, trying to do some decent damage. Looks like we are going to be seeing perhaps another Chalice of Potions here, dropping down. Or is it going to be the Holy Dwellers? It is a Chalice, unfortunately, which was a bit of a swing and a miss. Sarmation certainly on point today with his Micro, running away with those Chameleon Skinks before shooting into the Knights Errant. And Lord Mazdamundi can even catch them now if he wants to, choose to. Stegodon having a nice shield of the old ones as well. And you can see there is still half of the Bretonian force still alive and healthy, but it's all peasant mobs and peasant bowmen and so forth. And the trebuchets are nearly running out of ammunition. Looks like one has been shut down. Hey, we do actually get to see the dwellers below, but it seems to unfortunately be another swing and a miss here. The Pohopak cohort going toe-to-toe with Knights Errant and Ground Knights, not doing too bad at all. Up to 42 kills, but looks like they are finally going to be forced off here. Fenenchantress is currently running for the hills, unfortunately. I just don't think there's enough here to take down the Stegodon, Lord Mazdamundi, as well as the Feral Carnosaur. The single entities certainly doing very strong in this game. And the Skink cohorts as well, pushed back on top of the field trebuchets, easily going to be able to overrun their crew. So is the Fenenchantress going to recover? This is the question. Down to 268 health. Of course, Stegodon's great bow could maybe give her a few parting shots as she does start to run to the edge of the field, following this horseless steed, or riderless steed as well here. Fenenchantress so close. Health is a -5, and she's gone. That is going to be disastrous here for the forces of Bretonnia. They have managed to wear down a lot of the Lizardmen through sheer attrition, but as you can see, the field trebuchets are starting to run relatively low on ammunition. Without the Fenenchantress here to keep these troops in order, I'm not sure the Bretonians are going to be able to protect that back line quick enough. In comes the triple monster mashup here, trying to hunt down this poor Grail Relique, or Reliquary, whatever it's called. That's a French word there, Frenchy McFrench. And it is unfortunately again absolutely crunched down and destroyed here. 288 health, minus 78 leadership. Balance of power is going very dangerously close to army losses here, as the peasant bowmen do start to flee the field, as well as some peasant mobs. And Bretonnians are in full retreat across the board, just trying to fall back and buy more and more time for these field trebuchets. But even if they use up all their remaining ammunition, Lord Mazdamundi is a thick boy with 2,700 health still remaining, as well as plenty of room for healing. It looks like some knights errant are fleeing for the field as well, away from some skink cohorts, no doubt as well. Although stayed on with his big old great bow, doing some pretty decent, consistent damage as well. If I'm Lord Mazdamundi at this point, I'm happy to push into this back line, hop on top of the peasant bowman, but it looks like he's going to be hiding behind the trees as much as possible, while he does heal up with another apotheosis, and, you know, allow the trees to take some brunt of the trebuchet fire. I actually quite like to see some of the trees kind of collapse as that does happen. Peasant bowmen are getting shot down as they flee, shot in the back by these poison darts. Not a good way to go, but it's a tough life for a peasant in the Warhammer world, as both units of chameleon skinks now have free reign to hop on top of these field trebuchets and shut them down, although it looks like they only have 1 ammunition left on this one and 4 on the second one. It's not doing too good overall, and it looks like it is going to be a sad day for the forces of Bretonnia. The Lady of the Lake is going to be very sad today, but very well played to both these competitors. And let's go to the end stats. So massive shout out to both Aristodemus and Sarmation. I'm not sure if this was a game on ladder or just a friendly game between two friends, but two very interesting builds. Now for the Bretonnian force, I do quite like the idea of dragging the Lizardmen through the mud and making them walk, because they are very, very slow Lizardmen in general, making them walk all the way across the map as you consistently do nice damage with the field trebuchets. However, there was nowhere near enough anti-large, I don't believe. Question Knights and Grail Guardians, of course, going for that anti-infantry, and only with 1 unit of peasant bowmen, so really hoping that Sarmation I went for a skirmish build here, or just going for kind of a source skink rush. But yeah, Lizardmen are known for taking large single entities, and I don't think the trebuchets are accurate enough to kind of, you know, do enough damage to drag them down, especially with the healing coming in from Lord Mazdamundi. But overall, still very nice and fun build. As for Sarmations, pretty typical stuff, I think, coming up against Bretonnians, and it works very well. You get Lord Mazdamundi on Slack, he has great magical potential. I really like nets here as well to pin in those cav, and then you just simply rock a Carnosaur to destroy cavalry, and a Stegodon as well to help clear out the chaff, and they can still do decent work as well up against those pesky knights. But guys, hope you did enjoy. If you did, please do consider subscribing to the channel, as well as giving us a big old thumbs up. If you want to get involved in any tournaments I host or get your replays up on the channel, feel free to join my Discord. There's a link just down below. Anyway guys, until next time, peace, and as always, stay awesome.